The letter. Megan sat by the window, staring at the unopened letter in her hands. The return address was familiar, her childhood home. She hadn't been back in years, not since her mother passed away and her father had retreated into himself, shutting her out along with the rest of the world. She took a deep breath and finally broke the seal, unfolding the worn paper. Her father's handwriting was shaky, the words uneven and scattered across the page. Dear Megan, I know I haven't been the father you needed after your mother passed. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I want you to understand. Losing her broke me in a way I never knew was possible. I was lost in my grief, and in my pain, I pushed you away, thinking it was easier to bear it alone. But I was wrong. I've spent years regretting my silence, my distance. I should have been there for you, and I wasn't. For that, I'm deeply sorry. If there's any chance, I'd like to make things right. I want to see you, talk to you, and explain everything face to face. If you can find it in your heart to give me one more chance, I'll be waiting at the park by the old oak tree this Sunday at noon. If you don't come, I'll understand. With love, Dad. Megan's hands trembled as she finished reading. She hadn't realized how much she had needed to hear these words, how much she had missed her father despite the distance between them. The pain of their estrangement had become a constant ache, something she carried with her every day. Sunday came faster than she expected. As she approached the park, memories of her childhood flooded back, the times she had spent playing under that old oak tree. Her father pushing her on the swing, her mother laughing beside them. Her heart raced as she saw him sitting on the bench, looking older, more fragile than she remembered. He stared at the ground, unaware of her presence. Megan hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath and walked toward him. When she was close enough, her father looked up, and their eyes met. For a moment, they just stared at each other, the years of silence hanging between them. Finally, Megan spoke, her voice barely a whisper. Dad. Tears filled his eyes as he stood up. Megan, I'm so sorry. Without another word, she stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him. It wasn't a complete healing, but it was a start, a chance to rebuild what had been broken. As they stood there, holding each other beneath the old oak tree, Megan knew that this moment was the beginning of something new. It wouldn't be easy, but they would face it together. Life lesson. It's never too late to seek forgiveness and mend broken relationships. Holding on to pain and regret can distance us from those we love, but taking the first step toward reconciliation can open the door to healing. English lesson. Vocabulary focus. Estrangement. The state of being separated or distant, especially in a relationship. Reconciliation. The act of restoring a relationship or making peace after a conflict or disagreement. Fragile. Easily broken or delicate, often used metaphorically to describe emotions or relationships.